Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to be talking about my MEPS experience. This is military related, so if you are joining the military, want to learn a little something, or just watch this semi story time, keep watching. So I went to MEPS in Massachusetts. It was only about 1 hour away from the town that I actually lived in, so the ride was not too bad. My recruiter really didn't prep me for what was going to happen, how things were going to happen, so I kind of just got thrown into things. So on arrival, after we driven the hour to get there, we walk in, and the first thing that you do is walk into a metal detector. So do not bring any sharp, hazardous, or like lethal items at all, because it's just going to put a little red flag on your head, and it doesn't really make sense for you to bring something like that into a building for the military. Doesn't make sense. So you go through the metal detector, you go put all of your stuff into this this room, and it has like little cubbies all around it, and it also has a cell phone box to where you can put your cell phone in this little box, take a key, and then whatever. You cannot have your cell phones out, you cannot have smart watches or anything like that. Then you're gonna go to the front desk where you get checked in. They give you a sticker with your first and your last name on it. You do this fingerprint thing, and then they also take like a picture of you. I don't know what that picture was for. I don't know how it was going to be used or anything, but he was just like, stand here and take the picture. So I was like, literally that's how it went. After that, I walked down the hallway. I took a right, went all the way down to the hallway, signed in for to take the ASVAB. And when you go to MEPS, the only things you really need to make sure that you do have is your driver's license and your social security card. Those are going to be the two things that you will need like for everything. So I had to show him those two pieces those two forms of ID, go in, take the test. The test proctor was really nice. She was a young girl, and I didn't have any problems. After I finished that, my recruiter was nowhere to be found. He was not there, and he didn't really tell me what was going to happen. So I knew I was going to MEPS to take the ASVAB, go to a hotel, and then the next morning get up and do the medical thing. But he left me, and I didn't have a phone to text him, to text anybody, nothing. So after the test, I go into this room with several different other people. Everybody was like spread out. It was like a classroom type of room. So I just sat in one of the chairs and waited for this guy to come in to say, okay guys, we're about to leave, go to the hotel. Before leaving, we obviously got our stuff, and then, thought I saw somebody. We got our stuff, and then we left and headed over to the hotel. Once you get to the hotel, you go through this whole briefing. Welcome to MEPS. This is what you're gonna do at the hotel. Please don't tell anybody your room number. You can't leave after this time. You need to show up at this time. Go through the whole spiel. Another thing I didn't know is that I was going to have a roommate. So they give me my my key number, and nobody got off the floor that I got off of. So I was like, boom, I got my own room. This is great. I walk up to the room, I hear the TV on, and I smell like perfume or something, and I'm thinking like, oh gosh. So immediately I call Christian, and I'm like, honey, like, you know, there's somebody here. I don't know if I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I obviously went in, and my roommate Isabella, shout out to her. She was so nice. She told me everything that was going to happen the next day. And I don't know, it was just a really good experience to not have somebody crazy in the room with me. So we chatted up, we go have some dinner. They give you a meal ticket so that you can get dinner from the local restaurant that's down the stairs. You go back, you check in one more time at that same briefing session that you did have. After that, you go back to your room, you go to sleep, yada yada. You wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and you go down, you have breakfast, you get on a bus at 5. The bus takes you back to MEPS, and the bus ride is maybe like 30, 35, 40 minutes, something like that. So we arrived to MEPS at like 5:50, and MEPS didn't open up until 6 a.m. So we waited on the bus for about 10 minutes, kind of like getting all our nerves and everything, like, I don't know, freaking out. At that point in time, Isabella made sure to tell me to take my earrings off, so I did. So just so you guys know, there are no earrings allowed at MEPS. Take off, if you have any smartwatches, take those off. If you have a hat, make sure you just don't bring it. And like I told you guys, it was cold when I went to MEPS. So I had a coat, hat, scarf, gloves, everything I needed to be warm. So once it opens up, this guy comes out, and then the bus just starts flooding in, like everybody starts getting off. Everybody starts lining up, and I could kind of tell that people were moving a little bit slower than I was thinking that things were gonna go. And it really just, the people who got off the bus first suffered because it was cold outside, so everybody else taking their time, those people were already outside waiting. This guy comes out and he's like, welcome to MEPS, this is what you're gonna do. If you have a coat on, unzip it. If you have a hat on, take it off. If you have your cell phone on, turn it off. Like, he was just going down the lines of like all these things you needed to do and how to prepare yourself for the day ahead of you. He was stern, but he was nice nonetheless. So you do the same thing that I did the previous day. Go in through the metal detector, put your stuff away, go check in. After that, you went over to your liaison, which is, or like, I would call it the liaison, but after that, you go over to your selected branch. So they had a room, like an office for every single branch. The Marines, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Army, everything. So you go in there and they give you this huge packet. You take that packet and you take that with you throughout the entire day. One of the other small little rules that they say is do not touch the walls. I don't know why. Maybe they want to keep clean walls, but you can't like lean up on the walls. You can't be like touching the wall. None of that. Just don't touch them. There were a few people who like got yelled at for no reason. Well, they got a reason, but they got yelled at just because they were leaning on the walls when they asked us not to. We watched this little video, went through this slide point of a debriefing where it basically lays out in writing that if you lie during the medical examiner, you can be fined, you can go to jail, all these things. Our sergeant who was there basically said that it is possible for that to happen, but it's just very unlikely. Just don't lie, and if you need any help, I'm here. Boom. That was that. Now, fast forward maybe like 30 minutes after that little talk, we go down to the medical section of the MEPS, and that was just down the hall. Everything is not too far from each other. You get down and there's like 4 benches lined up, and he goes over that, you know, good morning. When he says good morning, he wants you to say something back. If he calls your name, you stand up and you say yes. There's 3 people to a bench, so when one person gets up, you move down. Don't have 4 people on a bench, don't have 2 people on the bench, have the 3. Just follow directions pretty much. After he comes up and he asks you to verify your phone number, verify your social and everything like that, you begin the medical part. So to start, I took my blood pressure and I did the hearing test, which is in the same room. Each room I think has a number on it, and in the middle there's a little seating area if you're waiting to go to one of the other parts. So I started with the air and blood pressure, pretty easy. The ear test, you sit in this confined little box, put these headphones on your ear, and you have to click every time you hear it. For me personally, I felt like you could barely hear them. It was like, I was like I kept clicking it, but I passed, so that's all that matters. After that, I went over to, it's where you get the medical exam, but she just had us do our urine test, and they also check to see if you're pregnant right on the spot, because if you're not, then your day ends right there and you can just exit, because obviously you can't be pregnant trying to join the military and go into boot camp and all of that. So we took the urine test. After that, I went in to do some paperwork, and you just sit in this classroom with, you know, however many people else who's there just for that one little small session. And if you have tattoos, you have to fill out the separate form. More than 2 tattoos, you have to fill out the separate form where you put what your tattoos are on your body and then what it like says or what the picture of it is. You also fill out this long medical documentation that asks you 1,001 questions. Do you get car sick? Do you have asthma? Have you ever broken a bone? Have you ever been to the emergency room? Have you ever had surgery? I mean, the list goes on. It's about like 100 questions, and you have to answer every single one, yes or no. And then when you get into the medical exam with the doctor, she literally asks you those same questions. And if you say yes when you wrote no, that's where you're gonna be in trouble. So I filled that out. We also did the blood test to see if you had any alcohol in your system. That went over pretty smoothly. It was a little humiliating because she just literally pulled one out, stuck it in the person's mouth, and then was like, okay, next. So you literally watch everybody like blow into the tube, and it was just kind of like, but that was fine. Everybody blew like 0.000, so that was that. After that, I went to do my blood work, and disclaimer guys, I do not like needles. I don't do needles. I have never been one to do needles, and I've never got my blood drawn ever. Like, I don't sign up for the Red Cross, and when I was in high school, I was too small. Like, I didn't weigh enough in order to give blood drawn. So I would always go there, get the little sticker, say that I like donated, take the snacks and the juice, and be on my way. Forgive me, but I did. And so I went over there, and the nurse was so nice. She was very like sympathetic, and I was scared, and she can clearly see that. So I was like, you know, if you don't mind, I'm just going to close my eyes, and you know, you can do yourself. So I close my eyes, and I'm like doing like this, and she wipes it with a little alcohol pad, and then she gets to work. And it was like a pinch, and I was like, ooh, like I didn't want to do that again. So she does it, and then I feel like something like this, but in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, that's the blood coming out, nothing to worry about. No. I was like, are you almost done? She was like, I'm so sorry, but I can't find your vein. I can't get it. Y'all, I had to do it a second time. So she wraps this one up. I stick my other finger out, so now I'm going like this, and I'm like closing my eyes, and she was like, I'm gonna get a smaller needle, and hopefully that'll work. It's like a needle that we use on babies, so it shouldn't be hard for you at all. She did it, everything went over perfectly fine, so I was good to go. Now I was waiting to go to the eye part of like the little test, and there was too many people, so I went to go sit down. While sitting down, you can kind of see everything that's around you. So I look over, and there's this boy who just came from getting his blood work drawn, and I saw him like go in there because he was like one person in front of me, and that's why I had to go sit down. So I see him like looking into there, and I'm trying to be nosy to see like what I'm about to do. Y'all, he passed out. When I tell you his body just flopped to the floor, I've never seen any human being fall that quickly and like that hard in my life. And there was a nurse in there that was helping the eye doctor just run all of the tests, and the eye doctor is like off to the corner like looking at the computer, I guess, like to what his results were, and the nurse was like helping him, tell him like what he was doing. Girl, he fell, and she's like, help, help, help. It took 2 more people to go in there to help and pick this boy up. So 4 people total. The nurse, the eye doctor, and then 2 random people to come in and help. Picked him up, and I was like, he getting disqualified. Like, he ain't gonna make it. He passing out after getting his blood work drawn. That was bad, and that was a little bit scary. So I'm glad I saw that after I had already taken my blood work, and not beforehand, because I would have been like, oh no. After that, I went in to take my eye exam, and the eye doctor was really nice. And I don't know, for me, in my experience, holistically, the people were not mean. I had small conversations with a lot of the people that worked there. Each of the doctors really weren't that mean. You honestly just have to pay attention, be nice, and don't lie, and you'll be perfectly fine. So after I took the eye test, I went over to go into the actual medical exam. If you are a male, you're gonna go in with a male doctor. If you're a female, you're gonna go in with a female doctor. If you are a male but don't wanna wait for the male doctor, because there are way more men than there are women doing these tests, you can have the female doctor see you, but then there is going to be a male assistant that will assist her and make sure that everything is going on correctly. So I get in there, and there was only like 2 other girls that were doing this exam with me. I was really surprised because I thought it was going to be like a bunch of us doing all of these exercises. She starts by telling us to strip it down, and she had like these little heaters because it was so cold. It was winter time, and it just was so cold. So she was like, you can keep your socks on, but me having clammy feet, I just couldn't do it, and my feet would just slide all on the little flooring that they had. So you strip down to your bra and your underwear. Make sure that you have on a standard bra, no lace, your nipples not popping out, nothing like that, and wear briefs or something like that as far as underwear. She don't need to see thongs. She could care less about seeing that. They start by having you do little like motion tests. So you have to like put your arms out, do stuff like this, put your arms out here, put them above your head. You do things like this. We have to jolt your arm out. You do the same thing with your legs. They have you like duck crawl. They have you like roll your feet down, roll them back up, do it to the other side. They have you like sprint like across the little room and then walk back, then sprint, then walk back. There was several different things that they had you do. Some stuff you can kind of prepare for, and some stuff it was kind of like just follow what she's telling you. And the nurse who's there practice everything that they tell you to do before you do it. So if she had you do this, the nurse did this before you did it, and then you just had to mimic what she was doing. So that wasn't hard. After that, you go in one by one with the doctor. When you get in there, be calm and be cool, because she is ready to like just ask you 1,000 questions. She was like, hi, like, you know, just come in and sit down. She was like, I'm just gonna, you know, I just want to get to know you. You know, what's your name? Where did you grow up? She kind of like eases into the questions that she's about to start hearing you with. But I knew better, so I was like, I'm good. I'm Taj, you know, they call me this. I live in Middletown. I just was like, you know, talking to her like I go to school. I'm about to graduate, all of that good stuff. And then she starts going down the list of all of those questions. And guys, pay attention, like think before you answer her questions, the he or she, whatever, you know, whatever you're gonna have, because they will ask you the same question in 3 different ways. I mean, I can't tell you how many times she's asked me, have I ever been in a car accident or if I ever injured myself. She was like, oh, you said you dance, so you've never had like a sprained ankle? And I was like, no. She was like, so you've never been to the hospital, you know, just with, you know, just getting a bruise or, you know, just bruising yourself. Like she's really good at her job. So just be on your A game and make sure that you're answering everything accurately. And if you know that you put a no on something, explain it, because she's gonna ask you, so how did that happen? And then she wants to know. She also checks for, I don't know if you can see it, but I have like a little like mark here that I got when I was like a child or something like that. I also have a little bump on my knee that I got as a child, and long story short, we were outside playing, I fell and I got the bump on my knee. She was like, where did that come from? How did that happen? She saw like a little burn like on my arm that was like from years ago. I was with a straightener and I was like, yeah, I like straighten my hair, and I dropped the iron. She was like, oh, okay. And she was like, oh, how many piercings do you have? And I was like, just the 2. And she was like, oh, okay. So as she's doing the ear exam, she sees that I have another piercing. So she was like, did you tell me you had double piercings? And I was like, I think so. Like, yeah, I only have the 2, you know, no other piercings. No other piercings. And guys, she's thorough. She looks in your ears, she looks in your nose, she looks in your mouth, she looks at your teeth, she looks at your skin. She wants to see if you have acne, if it's maybe bad. She looks at your feet. She asks you to lift your feet up, and as you walk, she's looking sideways to see if you have an arch in your foot or if you're flat-footed. She's looking at every single thing. And I actually asked her, I was like, you know, why are you so extensive with this? And she basically just said so that she can ensure that the people that she's saying yes, that she's qualifying for the Navy are actually qualified, rather than her being, you know, Miss Nice Betty and then signing someone off to go into the military, and then they don't work out because basically they lied or she missed something on her end. She gets to my heart. She gets to examine my heart, and she checked from the front, she checked from the side, she checked from my back. She also looks under like your buttocks. I guess there's a fungus or some like acne or something that can grow around your butt or your back and stuff like that. And she looks at that, something that I did not even know, but it's a thing. So if you have something like that, eczema or anything of that sort, you can obviously still go to MEPS, see how it turns out for you, but I think that would be an issue. She basically concluded my exam with oh, I just need to check this again. I just need to check this one more time. She has me lay down and she's checking my heart again. She says, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to leave your exam open. She was like, I'm not disqualifying you, and I'm not saying that you won't be able to enter the military. I'm saying that you are going to need to go see a cardiologist, have this heart test done, and then once that concludes, you will come back, and then we'll go from there. So y'all, at this point in time, after I made it through all the questions, she didn't really call my bluff on anything. I thought that I was good to go, that I was gonna be walking away saying, yes, my MEPS is done, I had a great experience, yada yada. No. She left open means that at that point in time, the examination was over, that I could go and sit in the waiting room, and I had to basically schedule a consultation to have that test done. I'm gonna be doing a separate video on basically having an issue at MEPS or trying to join the military with a medical problem, because I think it will be helpful. But after that, I mean, my day was pretty much done. I went and had lunch, and the lunch was not good at all. It was basically a sandwich with some meat in the middle of it. The only thing that was good that I enjoyed was the Lay's chips. They gave you a piece of fruit. I had an orange, a bottle of water, and then they gave you this little cookie. It all came in this little box, and they just you just went up there and just gave them the ticket, and then they just handed you this box. So you had no idea what was going to be in it. You can't leave that lunch area with anything. So if you're thirsty, you should have drank the water, anything like that. After that, once you are done, as people finish with their medical examination and everything that they're supposed to do at MEPS, you go into this waiting area where there's a TV. And at that time, you still do not have your phone. So some people were asleep, some people were trying to make conversation, some people kept going in to talk to their whatever branch they're associated with. But if I would have finished everything, and I was ready to enlist, I would have went into that liaison, picked my job, picked my ship date. Then after that, I would have went to swear in and all of that. But that is not what happened to me, because I now had a medical issue that needed to be sorted out before doing all of that. So that basically concludes the video, and I will let you guys know how everything went in my next video, where I explain trying to join the military with a medical issue, basically. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this was informational. I hope that this video maybe can help my fellow female trying to join the military. If you guys have any questions, you could definitely leave those down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.